All right. All right, everybody. Welcome
There we
back
are.
with episode 2 of Knockout Addiction, where I got my sister Ty from Scar Nation. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm sure a lot of the people in the group know me because Scarnation. I've been on quite a few podcasts. I've been on with Josh and Manny and Kalisha and done a
The whole
couple
thing.
little short things on my own. So yeah. I'm a 44-year-old single mom living out in Oregon. Try to live my best life in recovery as much as possible.
Fist bump.
I've been through the trenches. Yep.
We all have.
That's the truth.
Man.
Um, Let's see, where should we start? Let's go with because I know that you and me are just gonna end up just going whatever tangent we end up on. So
You squirrel.
um, always, it's not peeking through blinds anymore and trying to see things that aren't there.
No kidding. We don't do that no more.
It's never a good look. Yeah, no. So, but no, I lived the majority of my life in addiction, and it started. Geez, the first time I was even given a medication that wasn't mine was when I was probably like in kindergarten. I had fallen down some stairs at our house, and I thought I busted my back or something, but I probably just bruised my tailbone a little bit. My grandma gave me a Vicodin,
Oh, man.
and I was like, yeah, I feel better.
I don't feel nothing.
And not a damn thing. Um, but most of the members of my family, like most of my family, suffers with addiction and stuff. So I was already predisposed, and I started, smoking and drinking when I was like in middle school. Stealing grandma and mom's cigarettes and that kind of stuff, and it just kept snowballing when I hit high school and ended up partying with my uncle. Just drinking massive amounts of alcohol and stuff like that. And he's the one that introduced me to, well, it was crank at the time. Most of these young kids don't know about that, but
I don't.
uh,
Like, that was before I started doing it. Like,
thanks for making me feel old, bro.
I had to. No.
I'm gonna get my geriatric ass on this podcast. What the hell?
No.
But no, so yeah, I started way back then. I was like 16, and I'd been partying with my uncle. And I'd drinking and smoking pot. Nothing too crazy, I guess, for a 16-year-old, if you want to not consider that crazy. But
That's how it always
we had
started.
partied real hard the night before, right? It's harmless fun, kids experiment, to a point.
Yeah.
But we had partied real hard the night before, because that's all we ever did was party real hard. But I had to work the next morning out at a gas station on the highway pumping gas, and I was so hungover. So he called me into the back room and he's like, "Hey, so this is what we're doing when we come back here. We'll leave you out there. It'll get rid of your hangover, but I'll leave it up to you." I'm like, "Hell yeah, let's get rid of that hangover."
Right.
And I was so productive and energetic, and I just got everything done. My hangover was gone. I felt great. Wasn't hungry. Like, where has this stuff been all my life? And it
Right.
just snowballed from there. It was bad. Yeah.
See, that's what got me on ice.
Yeah.
Like, I was like sloppy drunk, and I hit it one time, and I was like I never drank a drop. I was like, what?
Yep. Yeah, this stuff is magic.
Yeah, like I can outdrink everybody and everything, and not even have to worry about it.
Well, I was keeping up and out drinking half of the guys that we were partying with at 16 already without the meth.
Right.
So I just thought I was Superwoman after that. And yeah, not the best idea. It definitely took me down some dark roads, but I had some real interesting experiences and met some real interesting people.
Oh yeah.
And I'd like to say, like, my whole journey through addiction was terrible, because you kind of want to say that to warn other people off of it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I honestly can't say my entire journey was terrible, because I met some incredible people
Yeah.
that I'm still friends with today. Thank
That's
God we
like,
all made it out alive.
that's like
But
I
if it
was telling
wasn't for
my
my
dad.
addiction, I wouldn't have met you and
Right.
everybody.
That's like I was telling my dad about that the other day. I was like, I couldn't say like the whole like even active addiction that it was all bad, like because like I met some really close people, but like
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend it.
no,
But
like
there were some. I got some treasured memories, and some memories of having a lot of fun and stuff. But that little bit of fun and those treasured memories are not worth the fallout that comes with it.
yeah, especially when
Sure.
you've been for years on top of that, like it.
Yeah, it wrecked my health. The meth and the alcohol wrecked my health the very worst.
Right.
I when I first started using, I talked about how I was so energetic and I wasn't hungry and this stuff is great. Well, I've been overweight my entire life. I was always the fat kid and stuff, so I was like really excited. I thought this stuff was really gonna do the trick. And
Right.
I was one of those people that never got skinny in addiction. Like I didn't lose hardly any weight, hardly any of
Right.
it. I kind of felt like I was robbed. Jenny Crank did not work for me. I want a refund.
That
But
cracks me up every time. No man.
and then the whole put down a spoon and pick up a fork and you gain 50 pounds. That shit happens.
No.
And it's great for most people, but when you're
Yeah.
already as wide as all outside, it's not what you want to happen.
Well, I look terrible. Like
But I've seen pictures. Holy crap, you
man,
were skin and bones.
yeah, 129 pounds, soaking wet.
I don't think I weighed that in grade school, bro. For reals, I was at least 180 pounds in fifth grade. So
And get this.
yeah, I was a big kid.
Here's the crazy part about my like how meth had me, right? I did 13 months in the county. I worked out, ate good in there, didn't do nothing. Like I smoked cigarettes in there, of course, but like I worked out. I was the most I've ever weighed in my life, 187 pounds. Like freaking, I had weight on me, like for my height. And then freaking got out after doing 13 months, and within a month and a half, I was back down to 130. I was like,
Yeah, people like you always pissed me off because I could never lose weight when I was partying and using back then.
I could just look at it and not freaking like.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people like that. Like my cousin Caleb, you see how big of a guy he is. I had sent Josh some before and after pictures of him too, and holy crap, he was all sorts of sucked up back when he was using and stuff. It's crazy.
Like that one picture.
But yeah, that never happened to me.
That one picture I sent you, it looked like my neck was that long. Like I was.
It was a pencil. That wasn't no neck.
No kidding.
Seriously. But I mean, there was at one point I did end up losing some weight because I was so heavy and had partied so much that I was actually going into kidney failure at one point after I had my son. I was on house arrest, and after I didn't even stop using while I was on house arrest during treatment. I used the whole time.
Right.
But after that, I ended up losing probably like 40 pounds, and that was enough to pull me out of kidney failure. But I was still not anywhere near healthy, not even close. So, but I could walk, a block and a half to the store across the way or up the street to get my mail and stuff like that. So I thought I was doing great, but not so much. So, but life just continued to spiral out of control from there. I really thought once I had my son that I was going to straighten out and everything was going to be great. I was going to be the best mom ever. So wrong. So super wrong.
Right.
Like I think I screwed up more after I became a mom than I did before, which is really hard to even conceive because when I was 16, 17 and still hanging out with my uncle and stuff, he robbed a bank and we took off to Las Vegas. So, I mean, how do you screw up worse than that? Oh, yeah, you keep doing drugs. That's what you do.
Solution to everything.
So, yeah. I ended up getting busted for selling pot. when my son was a little over a year old. That was before I was on. That's why I ended up on house arrest for. And then my baby daddy was a real scumbag, and the cops hadn't even found because I had used a couple times after I had my kid, but then I just completely just shut it down, and I had everything in a bag, and we had moved into an apartment, and I wasn't thinking. I just unpacking boxes and tossing stuff, and there was a bag under the sink with all of my paraphernalia in it, and he knew that. And so when the cops showed up to bust me for selling pot, I gave them all my weed paraphernalia, and of course they took all my weed because it wasn't legal here then. And they had gone outside, and I was getting ready to get taken to the jail. And he went outside and was like, "Hey, if you go back in there and look under the bathroom sink, you'll find this bag. It's a shit kit, basically." Yeah, so I copped extra charges for that.
Oh man.
And oh yeah, he was super great, super great. And so then I ended up taking all the charges for that. I figured, well, one of us had to remain felony free. And I honestly expected them to go back. They said they were going to go back and give him a pre-quitting charge or a child endangerment charge or something like that.
Yeah.
They never did. His mom worked for the neighboring county DA, and his sister was the one that called and turned us in. So he didn't get not one charge, nothing. So you can tell his mom had pulled some strings or something. Right? Weird, huh? So, and then while I was sitting in jail, my mom told me, "Well, you better do whatever the hell you can to get her ass out of jail, like right now." And he called down there, talked to the cop that arrested me, and thought the best way to do that would be to tell them, "Oh, well, this is her plug. This is what his car looks like. This is how often he stops by, blah, blah, blah." Thank goodness he got the weights and the money amounts wrong, because otherwise I probably would have went upstate for sure.
Right.
But it did nothing but make the case against me stronger. And when I found that out, I was still sitting in jail. I had called, it's basically like family. I called them because I knew that they accepted like calls from jail at that point. And Dad got on the phone and he was like, "Hey, just so you know, your baby daddy rolled on you and sang like a canary." I'm like, "Awesome. That's just awesome." So when they let me out before my trial, I was heated. So one of my cousins and two of my friends were there, and the two friends, one of them was like the same size I was at the time, and the other one wasn't a small chick either. And they ran blocker in between me and my baby daddy, and my cousin was just pushing me to the bathroom. "Go get in the shower. Lynn County is a nasty place. You want to shower. Go get in the shower." The chair, like, scared for his life. In all fairness, he was right to be. Because I would have torn him apart. I was so pissed when I found that out. But yeah, it would have been bad. I would have copped so many more charges. But I decided to stick it out for the kid and try to work through all that. And we ended up in treatment. And we were in two different classes because, of course, he wasn't as severe as addict as I was.
Oh, God.
Which crap. But he knew that I was still. I just started using and kept using after I ended up in jail and all that stuff happened, because that's how I knew how to cope. Well, he was still smoking a bunch of pot and stuff and getting high once in a while too. So we were faking our UAs. He goes in to class and got UA'd and threw the bottle in the trash can. So he got busted faking his UAs. And what does he do yet again? Well, Ty's faking her UAs too. So, yeah. So I ended up getting called in. I was over helping a friend out. She had broken her neck, so I was helping her shower and stuff like that. And I get a call from the treatment center. They're like, "Hey, we need you to come in and do a UA." And of course, I panicked and hugged a couple of gallons of water. Gave myself water poisoning. I'd never been so sick. It was terrible at that point.
I've did that.
It came back diluted. So I was good to go. But they still they transferred me to a different class. They actually had me start a new class because I talk a lot. So they figured I'd make people comfortable, which I did. And then he got transferred over to the class that I was in. where he ended up meeting one of my friends that I'd known since high school and ended up cheating on me. And I found all that out. And that's a whole nother story.
Oh my
But
god.
ended up booting him out and going it alone after that. Good times.
We've been through it.
Yeah. So, oh, yeah. And this is just like the Reader's Digest version. If
Right.
today we'd go through all of it like I did on that cast that I did with Josh, my first appearance, because it's a lengthy one. There's a
Right.
lot of shit that's happened.
Right.
So, but yeah, I from there I ended up moving to a different house, and my addiction got worse. And then after at that house, I had gotten together with a high school sweetheart, and we were supposed to get married and blah blah blah. But he was shooting dope at the time,
Oh damn.
and I had never done that.
Oh man.
I had been doing dope since I was 16, and I was in my 30s by then, like 31, 32 or something like that. And you know, it's just one of those things that sometimes happens. And I ended up deciding to try it because I wanted to see what all the hype was all about and wanted to feel closer to him, which is a crap excuse. That doesn't
Yeah.
work, folks. It's not a good reason. There is no good reason to start shooting drugs.
No. That's how I
Yeah.
overdose. That is how I overdose.
Yeah.
Which is basically like your body's doing the same thing as an opiate with like freaking overdose. Besides, you're awake feeling this, like
Yeah,
scary.
and it feels like your heart's gonna explode.
Yes.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't know how, but I never OD'd on meth. I probably should have a few times, but I've been doing it for so long. I was on meth for over half my life. So
Yeah.
I'm sure my tolerance has something to do with that.
That's what I was
I'm one of
saying.
the few people that I know of that actually I get dope. I would get dope sick if I didn't have.
At least
I would be like nauseous and everything. Yeah.
like I
So
tried to
I
go
just
to
always made sure I never ran it.
and I tried the rehab route when I quit the first time. I swear. They did the blood work. You know what they come in there and said? Oh, you just have meth in your system. We can't help you.
Just have meth in your system. We can't help you.
Like,
Then who the hell is supposed to?
that's what I'm saying. And my dad was just sitting there looking at him like, are you serious?
Yeah, that's pure insanity. That's one thing that really, really upsets me about the healthcare and mental health and recovery services availability in America is that it's either impossible to find help for, substances that seem like minor substances, or it's inaccessible because it's unaffordable unless you have good insurance.
Right.
And then the ones that are affordable or take state insurance, a lot of times are just real shitty places that don't do much for people.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating. Like there should not be barriers for people who want to get help.
Right.
It's hard enough to ask for that help. Why make it hard to get as well?
Yeah. Up until this time I quit, like freaking the only time I was ever clean was when I went to jail. Like I'll dry out.
Yeah. And see, the difficulty getting people into treatment is one of the reasons I have a friend here that had relapsed. And I talked to you about it in a private conversation.
Yeah.
Well, he had relapsed, and we took him to a couple different places, and we thought we had gotten him into Serenity Lane down in one of the southern counties. But we got down there, and they're like, "Oh no, we have to do an intake and do this and do that, and it'll be a few days." Even though the place that we had just been at said, "Oh, they'll take you right away." We just talked to them.
Yeah.
Well, that ended up not panning out, and he tried to do outpatient to the place that had sent us down there, and it worked for a little while. But just this last week, and I had known that he fell off. I knew that, and I was still keeping tabs on him, still stopping by once in a while to see him and stuff. But his mental health, he snapped and he spiraled out of control and ended up it was bad. He assaulted somebody, and then the cops showed up.
Oh God.
And there was more issues after that. Yeah. So he ended up, he's they had to take him to the hospital to get checked out and stuff like that because I guess the cops kind of roughed him up. But to be fair, that's kind of what happens when you're combative when the officers show up. But it looks like he's going back upstate, unfortunately.
Man.
Yeah. So, but if we would have been able to get him into inpatient treatment,
right,
it likely wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. Speaking of upstate, my cousin Kane, he's the admin in this. Like, me and him started this.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give.
How long ago did he get out?
He hadn't got out yet. Hopefully by September, I hope.
Awesome. So when he gets out, he'll be an active admin.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's in a halfway house. He's got a phone and everything now. So.
Oh, so, but he's out of the joint, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. That is awesome.
Won't make too much longer.
Well, I can't wait to say hi.
Yeah.
I can't wait to say hi to that guy.
He's like me, but just a little bigger. Like, I swear.
Great, double trouble.
Oh man,
triple trouble.
We used to raise hell back in the day, but.
Oh well, me and my cousin, like you've talked to him before. Like we've been through it and done a lot of crap too.
Like I pulled up at his house one time.
But yeah.
Way back when, like freaking, we was not thinking correctly. Took a bunch of mushrooms and showed up at his house. And then freaking my sister walked out and I seen her turn into Pennywise from the movie It. Scared
I did something similar.
Like that was the scariest I've ever been in my whole life.
Yeah, when I was like 19, I had done something like that. I'll tell you about that when you get done with your story.
That was the last time I took mushrooms.
Those are legal here in Oregon now. Crazy.
I'm good after that.
Yeah. For sure. No, I get it. When I was like 19, I was living up by Portland. And one of my friends had gave me an 8 the shrooms for babysitting for him. And he's like, just don't eat the whole bag. You don't need to. These are really strong. Just eat a few, you'll be good to go. Well, I had traveled back down to Albany, which is about an hour and a half away from where I was staying, and visited my mom. I was going to go see my grandma, so I popped a few. And on the way there, and things started brightening up. It was kind of like almost like one of those Disney cartoons where it's like half cartoon, half movie. I was like, this is pretty cool. But it wasn't as hot as I was expecting. So I sat there at my grandma's on the edge of her bed talking to her and ate the rest of them.
Oh, God.
And he's like, oh, what are you eating, honey? I said, oh, there's some mushrooms, Grandma. No. You can't have these mushrooms, Grandma. No.
Mushrooms. No.
Next thing I know, there's like spiders starting to, come streaking down the walls, like tons of them. I'm like, oh, shit. Well, better make my way because I got a few things I got to do before I can get back to my mom's. Made it out to the front room, and I just got the giggles super bad. My grandpa's like, well, what's in that Mountain Dew? I said, nothing, not a damn thing. And then my the cousin that lives with me, Caleb, his sister walks in from outside or one of the bedrooms or something, and I looked up, and she turned into Miss Piggy. I'm like, I gotta go. It's so time for me to go. Yeah, I only made it probably about 8 blocks, so I stopped at a friend's house as I said I was going to, and next thing I know, it's dark outside, and the moon is like right here. I'm like, I've got to get home to my mom's, and I took off from there. There was like just thousands of these like big red glowing bugs all over the road, and I could hear them squishing under my tires and crunching and stuff. And I turned on the main road, and all the lights were just swirling, and every single car looked like a cop car. I don't care if it was a Volkswagen or a motorcycle; it was a cop car.
Oh yeah.
So I pulled over at the convenience store, and since I had moved, they had moved the payphones, because this is back in the day with payphones. And they moved from one side of the parking lot to the other. And I panicked. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I put the car in reverse. I looked up, and those things in the movie where it's like, oh, I saw the payphones behind me. So I pulled over there and called my friends. I'm like, I need you to come get me right now. I'm freaking out, man. And they're like, all right, let's off the phone. We'll come get you. I'm like, you got a cordless phone. Just stay on the phone with me. I was out of it. So yeah, I got back in the car and locked my door till they got there. Yeah, not the best plan.
Right.
So, but those are just a couple of those like funny memories, and that weren't really. I mean, they were during addiction periods of time, but it wasn't like my drug of choice, and it wasn't something I did real often.
Right.
Yeah. So, let's see. Then what? Oh, so after I had started shooting up and stuff, I lost that house and ended up kind of homeless and couch surfing for a while, and things just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
Right.
And I ended up still shooting for probably another
No, it won't.
another 5-6 years.
Go.
I'm doing the therapist down here.
Go up there.
Mom said I'm doing.
Oh my lord.
Can do it down here.
Didn't do it.
Hashtag dad duty.
Yep. Sorry about that.
No worries. Like I said, single mom, so I get it.
Right.
But mine turns 17 in August, so I mean it's not quite the same, but I've been there.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, it just kept getting worse and worse. And then I was living with my mom, and I was still shooting drugs and stuff, and she ended up passing away, and I ended up continuing on, and started some heroin started trickling in here and there, and I finally moved out of town to I'm only about 20 minutes away from my hometown, but it was far enough to get away from most of it. I mean, I still continued using when I got here, but now I've got, let's see, when I did the podcast with Josh, I had about 8.5 years off the needle. So now I've got like probably 9.5, almost 10 years off the needle.
Yeah, that is freaking awesome. Sorry, I'm gonna put these headphones in.
No problem. I get it. That's why I got mine on. It just makes it easier to hear and make sure you guys can hear me clearly.
Right.
Yeah, it's that parent life, man. They will get you every time.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I feel like we're playing video games or something.
Right. That's what this is. The headphones.
I know. I already know, bro. But even after I stopped using the needle and stuff, I kept drinking, and I was still huge. And the drinking, plus I had contracted Hep C from shooting, it destroyed my liver. My liver is absolutely toast. And so I got the results from that test, and did that stop me from drinking? Of course not. And then COVID hit, and it got so much worse. Like that's all I did was drink. Because what else? Like I made what did I call it? I could call it like a COVID teeny or something like that. It was just two alcohols mixed together. No mixers, just two liquors. Yep. And I would drink 2/5 in a few hours. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think out of everything, alcohol probably wrecked me the worst.
Right.
I ended up being able to get gastric bypass right after all the lockdowns and stuff with COVID happened, and they warn you before you get the surgery that you should quit drinking because it makes you like something like 60 or 70% more likely to become physically dependent on alcohol. And I figured, oh, they're just BSing me. Doctors are always trying to scare people into being healthy and quitting, their vices. They were not kidding. Within, I would say probably 8 months to a year at the very most, I was physically dependent on alcohol. Like I had to have it all the time, man. Or else I would get sick. I'd have to wake up at least an hour before work to start catching a buzz so I wasn't sick for work. And then I would continue drinking.
Right.
Yeah. And it got so bad that one day I wasn't able to, because I was taking a bottle to bed with me in case I woke up in the middle of the night and needed to drink. And then one day I could not drink enough to not be sick. and it scared the hell out of me. And I had a friend staying on my couch, and I was like, dude, I think it's time for me to go to the hospital. I'm not okay. And at first, they didn't want to take me at first. They said that they asked when the last time I had drank was, and I'm like, on the way here. Like, I mixed a drink to go because I was sick. And they're like, oh, well, you need to be in full-blown withdrawals, and that usually takes about a day. And I'm like, really? Because I'm already starting to feel nauseous again, and I've been in here for less than an hour. And then before much longer, I was, I needed a puke bag, and I was getting sick, and I was shaking, and I was not okay. And they saw that. They're like, well, crap, I guess we better admit her. And I ended up detoxing in the hospital over a weekend, and I don't remember most of it. I ended up hallucinating, and I guess my son had called. I don't remember that. I don't remember that my son and my cousin coming to see me. I was getting like handfuls of lotion and throwing it in front of the hospital room door to protect me and the person that was in the room because I was all paranoid and I thought someone was going to get us. It was pretty bad. So, and then after that, when I found out that I had stage 4 decompensated cirrhosis, like my liver is completely shot. It will not heal itself anymore.
Man.
No matter what. I go in every 6 months for blood work and a liver scan. So far, so good. They keep checking to see if the scarring's gotten worse or if there's, warnings that I might have developed cancer and that the blood is still flowing the correct way. And so far, so good. Like, since I got sober and I'd gotten, the gastric bypass, I've lost enough weight that I'm much healthier now because I used to be over 430 pounds. And now I'm almost at my goal weight, which is around 180, 190. I don't want to get too skinny because I don't feel like that would be a good look for me.
Right.
But I've actually lost more weight and gotten healthier since I quit all of my vices, except for these damn things, than I ever was before. I'm actually healthier and I weigh less now. I'm smaller than I was in high school.
Even now, I'm doing that boxing and everything. Like, freaking, I'm still like hooked on nicotine. Right?
These vapes are the worst. Yeah. Like, they are so hard to quit.
I'm just like, I would probably be in jail if I took my vape away. Like,
oh yeah, and they have non-nicotine ones. And here a couple months ago, I was down to mostly zero nicotine. Like, I had a refillable vape that I would put I'd mix the 0 nicotine with like the 3 milligram, and then I had one that had like 3 milligrams in it, and then I had a 0. So I was trying to taper myself down, and I was almost done, and then my coil got burnt, and I was stressing out, and I went and picked up a couple of these, and right back at it.
Right.
It's ridiculous. But I have a very addictive personality.
Oh, me too. And
honestly, ever since I got the gastric bypass, it happens faster, so much faster. Like when I had the scar here, it's from my spine surgery, and that's when opiates got a hold of me.
That's why I never tried fentanyl, thank God.
And I'm so glad you didn't. That stuff is a whole other demon.
Yeah, I know myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a whole different demon.
Yeah.
That stuff, whew. I swore up and down that I would never be an opiate addict.
Right.
And when I had this surgery, like right before it, I was in so much pain. I could only turn my head to like 1 in 11. I'd had a headache for over a month straight. I couldn't lift my arms all the way up because I have degenerative disc disease, and my spine is crumbling in spots, and there was places in my spine that were being flattened by the discs.
Right.
And I had to go have C4 through C6 fused. So they basically decapitated me, put shit back together, and then sent me home. Same day.
That's scary.
Yeah, but honestly, it was probably the best decision I've made as far as surgeries go next to the gastric bypass.
Right.
The only problem is they give you a shit ton of opiates.
Oh.
Like they gave me so many oxys.
Right.
And it had to be the unbuffered ones because I can't take ibuprofen because of my stomach surgery. And then I got to be really careful taking Tylenol because of my liver.
Yeah.
So I had a ton of the unbuffered Oxy-10s.
Oh my God.
So, but before I had the surgery, like a friend had tried to find me a couple pain pills or something, and all they could find was the Press Blues. And I was so desperate and in so much pain that I was like, all right, well, I'll try a few puffs, but I don't ever want to get any of my own. So don't introduce me to nobody. Don't bring them over just whenever. Like, it's only if I'm absolutely desperate. And a couple of puffs, and I was so much better.
See,
So when I
unalived my wife, like, she thought she was getting a Roxy 30, and it was pressed pill.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like, she didn't even
one
take all of
out
it.
of every
It was like a half of a half.
Yeah, 1 out of every 7 to 10 of those pills is a fatal dose,
Yep.
if not more.
Yep.
I'm sure it's probably more by now because they started adding the xylazine and all this other stuff. In all honesty, I shouldn't be here because I got up to where I was doing like 8 or 10 a day on some days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so when I was coming off of the oxys, I was starting to get sick, and I was like, "Well, crap! I gotta function. I got so much to do, and this and that." So I went and grabbed a couple of the blues, thinking I could finish tapering down. And no, it doesn't work that way. It really doesn't.
Oh no.
So I was lucky to only battle that for 3 months, maybe 4.
Yeah.
But the withdrawals are absolutely brutal. And even during use, it's ridiculous because it's one of those drugs that you have to smoke consistently. You can't do some and be good for a couple hours.
Right.
You got to keep it up like every hour, an hour and a half, or you start, withdrawing.
Yeah.
So I was able to go through withdrawals once, and then I ended up relapsing. I don't even really consider it a relapse because I don't think I even made it a full week after those first withdrawals,
Right.
and I went back and got some more. But then I had a couple of good friends call me out, including the one that just ended up getting in trouble that I was talking about earlier. And I don't lie to my friends. I don't lie to my family. Like, I've kept it 100% with my kid. Like, I know some shit is super damaging. But there's ways you can explain things that are age appropriate.
I'm the same way with my kid.
So I've always been keep it 100%.
Like, she knows, like.
Well, the only person I've ever I lied to was pretty much the cops, and now I don't have to, so I'm not worried about it. But so I ended up, I forgot where I was at with that, but I went back out and I used for probably like another month, and I just got, the classic sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to get off of them because they're dangerous, and that was right around. The first time I started detoxing off of them, that's the first time I had seen one of Josh's videos, and I started following Josh and started watching his lives and met everybody.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I hadn't seen his video, I'd probably be dead by now. Like, that guy, I will always give him credit for helping save my life.
Yeah, because
and we'll talk a little bit more about him here in a few minutes.
That's how it was, like, at the very beginning of mine. Like, freaking, I was just scrolling through Facebook, seeing one of Josh's reels, and I was like, whoa, like, hold on a minute, he just described me. Like, what? Like,
yeah.
And so I started following him, then we went to that Discord, and then the group.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll happen so fast for me too. Yeah. But so I made the decision, like, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I wanted to get into recovery because, he was showing me it could be done, and he was helping motivate me and keep me like motivated to stay off of them and just, live a better life. And so I went ahead and started detoxing off of those, and I still had some naltrexone or naloxone. Not naltrexone. I had naltrexone left over from when my alcohol withdrawals and stuff. And I waited what I thought was long enough for 3 days, not knowing that using kratom and then taking something like that or Suboxone will throw you into precipitated withdrawals from kratom too. So I still I'd been using kratom the whole time I was in withdrawals to try and, mitigate the damage. And I threw myself into precipitated withdrawals, and oh my, that was one of the most brutal physical experiences I've ever had.
That is exactly what I've heard.
Yeah, I knew I would live, but I kind of wanted not to. Yeah. It was so terrible. And honestly, that's one of those that I'd like to say I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but If I'm being honest, there's a couple people I wouldn't mind seeing go through that shit.
That's what I started saying. Depends.
What did you do? But yeah, my kid and my cousin happened to watch me go through that, and then having to feel myself go through it. I mean, my roommate was so worried that he called 911 because I was having such bad like he thought I was having seizures because I was having such bad convulsions.
Right.
And I was scared because I've never been through withdrawals like that, and I called her my little sister from another mister, because she had managed to get clean off of those, and she came over and sat with me for a little while, but I declined treatment when the ambulance got here because I didn't want to go to the hospital, and even though like I didn't have any drugs in the house or anything like that, I was still afraid that they would call DHS because I have a minor in the house, so I declined treatment. I let him take my vitals just to make sure like I wasn't gonna have a heart attack or a stroke or something, but I declined treatment.
Right.
And my kid and my cousin would have to help me get up to get to the bathroom. They'd have to help me get into the shower. Like I was super, super non-functional. Like I couldn't even walk. I couldn't stand up by myself. I was still having like super bad convulsions. I was weak. I was throwing up. I had the squirts. It was terrible.
Man.
My bones felt like they felt like glass. Like just a cool breeze hitting my body was so painful.
See,
so
like, I experienced that like freaking at the very beginning when I quit meth all the way with no help, like no nothing. Like
well, like I was saying, I would get dope sick coming off of meth, but not that bad. Not to this point.
I guess
unless
that was my drug of choice. I don't know what it was like. It was freaking crazy.
Yeah. But precipitated withdrawals, that's like withdrawals times a million. They're terrible.
No, I wouldn't be able to do
but
it.
In hindsight, I'm kind of glad it happened the way that it did, because that is etched in my brain so hard, and it's etched in my bones. Like I will never forget that, and that's what has helped keep me from going back to the blues more than once.
I remember the last time I messed up. You do too. Oh my God.
I do.
I was pumping gas at that store, and I looked
told me and Bo, and we had your ass on the phone so fast.
Oh yeah, both y'all did. Like y'all was like, look,
yeah,
if we have to come down there and whoop your ass, like we will. Because I was looking at
warned each other about that many times.
And I was looking at it as a relapse, and y'all explained it. You're like, look, a relapse is when you dive like freaking back into it, like full force.
Yeah.
You freaking did it. You realized you messed up, and
yeah, you didn't even make it 24 hours without ratting yourself out to us. I think it was more like maybe 10 hours of that. And that's huge. That's brave.
Like it was a couple hours. Like I did it, and I was like, oh my God, I messed up. I gotta talk to somebody. Like
yeah, well, it's like when I was trying to come off the blues, I would go back and I didn't tell anybody. Or back when I was first coming off the needle, I would, do a hit once in a while, and I still wouldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
And I actually got into an argument in the Scar Nation group with somebody here not too long ago, actually yesterday or the day before, because I had posted that, relapse is not a failure type of post. And they started going off about, oh, yes, it is a failure, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, excuse me. No, you only fail when you quit trying. Yeah. That's when you fail.
Yeah.
So he's like, nope, if you take a drink, then you lose your clean time. And da-da-da. I'm like, no, you don't. You can't take away something somebody's already earned. You can restart your time. Fine.
Yeah.
If you're of that mindset where you have to do that, then do that for you. Yeah. I never made it with the NA and AA rules because that just it wasn't my path for recovery. It didn't work for me. And
same here.
I'm so grateful that those programs work for other people.
Yeah.
It has helped countless people. It just doesn't work for everybody. And I've been to NA meetings, plenty of them. I did it mostly for, friends or family. I didn't do that for myself. It just wasn't my path. And I will still encourage people to go to NA or AA meetings if that's what they need. Absolutely. The thought that time that you have earned and put in and worked for that you got under your belt just disappears if you screw up once. That doesn't
No.
make sense to me. That's like only celebrating 5 of your birthdays and you're in your 40s and be like, no, I'm only 5 years old. Those were the only ones I counted. It doesn't work that way.
No kidding. And see, that's another thing that got me
So
close to Josh. Like when he talked about the whole Cali sober thing. Like he
that's
blew
a
my
valid
mind.
path. You
And I
know,
was just like, he was like, if that's keeping
yeah,
you
well,
from doing
plant
stuff
medicine,
that you want
valid.
to do, then
Yep. As long as you are consistently moving away from what will definitely take you out, that is the important part. So,
right,
abstinence, valid. Harm reduction, valid.
right,
MAT, valid. Plant
yeah,
medicine / Cali sober, valid. If it was working for you, then do that.
yeah. And
But
that's what I like about
don't let
recovery.
the
'Cause
shame,
everybody's different.
yeah, do not let the shame of stumbling or slipping lead to a full-blown relapse because you're too ashamed to admit that to somebody. And that's one of the things that I pointed out to that guy I was arguing with. I'm like, no, judgmental, rigid attitudes like that make it people feel unsafe from being able to say, hey, I screwed up, I need support. And
Yeah,
we don't play that game as Carnation. If you screw
yeah,
up and need support, you screw up and need support. We're all human.
yeah,
Which leads me to another point I wanted to make about people ragging on Josh. I
yeah,
have a big problem with that.
yeah.
A big problem.
Hey,
And I've had
hey, I'm
tons of
proud
messages
of.
in my inbox. Oh, well, he's just your internet crush, or you've got the
Uh,
hots for him, or you blindly follow him. Da, 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 da. That's all
that's
I got to
awesome.
say to that.
Here's two of
That's
them.
not what it is at all. Yep. I'll make it 4.
Yeah. No, like for real though, like freaking. I look. I swear to God, I've even got them comments, and I'm just like,
Yeah. Like, anybody that knows of Scarnation or knows me or Josh, they know that we're tight. Like
right,
when we started talking, we clicked, and they know. Like he basically handed a lot of the function of the group over to me because I had more time on my hands and I'm a little more diplomatic and have a little bit better of a temper than he does. So, it was logical. But people on his post and on my post with the updates, because he's called me twice and he's been in there for what, 2 weeks now?
yeah,
And I'm sure he'll call me at some point this week. Um, People saying, well, he needs to give up this social media influencer game and da 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 da. Da. People don't need to. People in addiction or in recovery don't need to see that. Da, da, da. He needs to be accountable, bruh. He was
yeah.
accountable,
He got
and
on. He
people
got
in
on
addiction
live.
or in recovery. This is the exact type of content people in addiction or in recovery need to see.
Yeah,
They need
like
to
he
see people be
literally
accountable for their actions.
got on Facebook and told everybody, like told the world, like, hey,
Yep,
there's not
yep.
many people out there that can do that.
That's so brave.
Yeah,
He has got big old brass cojones for doing that.
yeah, for real.
Because I don't know many people that would.
Like Josh, for real, got me
I,
started in this. Like,
Josh has helped me through some real heavy stuff. Last month, I ended up. Last month was pretty brutal for me. Starting the last day of March and almost all the way through the month, I went through a brutal breakup that
yeah,
nobody saw coming. Like absolutely nobody saw coming. And I'm one of those people that if I'm triggered or if something like that happens, like I can take a punch, no problem. Let's get down. Like
right,
I'll go off on somebody. Like no problem. Let's do this. I can heal from physical pain much quicker and easier than I can from emotional pain, and it will
right,
almost always trigger me. And I don't want to use. And Josh was one of the very first people that I messaged. I reached out. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm going through it, and apparently I'm in the middle of a breakup, and all I can think of is going and copping some H. I just want to be numb, and I know you know what that's like. I was literally, I would wake up before I was barely sleeping because my emotions and my mental health was just screwed. But I would wake up, get out of bed, get something to drink, go to the bathroom, and log into work.
right,
And then I would work from then until bedtime. That I was working 12-hour days for at least a week just to keep myself occupied so I wouldn't go cop.
Yeah.
And almost immediately, he's like, "Damn, Tyana, you know, it sounds like you should probably get away from that person." I'm like, "Well, I kind of am. That's what's happening." And he's like, and he apologized for it taking him a few hours to get back to me. I'm like, "No, bro, like I know your schedule. You work third shift, you know, I get it. And I knew you'd get back to me as soon as you could." And then he told me, he's like, "Well, I'm going to call you tonight." And he did.
Yeah.
And he kept me on the phone. He made me promise to, no more relationships like the one I was in. And he made me promise to be a little bit selfish and to take care of me and do what I need to do for me to be okay.
Yeah.
And people just see him as this guy who thinks he's so full of himself and he's conceited and he does this social media stuff for clout. No, that's not who Josh is. Not even close. No. He's a human being, and he is one of my best friends. And I don't care what happens. I will have his back until the day I'm in the ground and then some.
Man, I'll never forget the first when he first asked me to be on the first episode of Scar Nation. Like I was.
Yep, I knew he was going to. I'm like, oh shit.
And like I was like, I want to do a live with you, tell my story and all that. And he goes, "Well, how would you like to be on the first episode of Scar Nation?" I was like, "What? Hold on, what?"
Yep. First I made the promo for that. I made the promo for that. Actually, I made the promo for all of them except for maybe one of those.
And I had the sweaty palms and everything. Like I was so nervous.
Oh, I know. You were saying like 2 words, and then you talk some more. You're like, yep, that's what I did. Oh, I'm the same way. You can see it on your face. You were terrified.
I was like almost. Oh man.
Yeah, I just had to give a big shout out to Josh and thank everybody that is supporting him and showing him love. I just want to give a big thank you to everybody that is, because he's a good man. Yeah, he has his problems. We all do. He's why we all met and we're in the same place.
Yeah.
Like he built that community for this reason. And for people to turn around and condemn him for messing up and needing help and support.
Okay.
It makes no sense to me, none. So yeah, I just had to do a big shout out for him because we love you, Josh. And for the people that's giving love and support, it's super, super appreciated. So, and I'm sure I'll hear from him here in the next couple of days. He's been calling about, whenever they give him a chance. He only gets he's supposed to get 1 15-minute phone call, but he'll try to squeeze in 2 so he can call his mom and then call me.
Right.
And I plan on, like, when he gets done with, I'm so proud of him. So proud of him. When he gets done with the inpatient and residential part of it, I'm going to try and make a trip down there just to say, hey, and good to see you. Welcome back kind of stuff. So be ready. I know you're not too far away.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'll have to let you know. We'll coordinate.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Look, before he moved to Nashville, I'd never met him. But I thought I was going to move to Cleveland, Tennessee to freaking get clean.
That's where he's at.
I thought I was going to get clean, right? And went to this neighborhood of all neighborhoods.
That's crazy.
Went into this house and then freaking that was not a place to be clean at.
I've been there. Not the same house, but similar. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy how I'm sure if I want, I rarely paid for anything back in the day, anyways. But I could if I ever went back, it
was like I would meet all these people and they would like me and they're like, "Oh, take this home with you, take that home with you, take this home with you," and I'm just like, "Okay." Yeah.
I know if I went back, I'd end up paying with my life, and I'm not about to do that. I got too much more shit to do. I got plans.
That's why 90% of the time I stay away from people. Like,
yeah. but I'm always willing to lend a helping hand. Like if a friend needs help, you help them. Or if a stranger reaches out to you because they feel like you're a safe person, help them out. I mean, if it's within your ability, help them out. If they just want to, a little advice or, need to vent about something that's going on in their life, there's absolutely no harm in letting them do that. And honestly, it'll probably help you out just as much. So kindness really does matter.
Like freaking this kid is freaking awesome. Like
you were telling me about him.
Yeah. Yep. He's freaking great. He's doing awesome in kickboxing.
Oh yeah.
He's got a heck
there's so many like different influencers and recovery platforms and stuff now. Like there should be nobody out there suffering alone in silence. There really shouldn't. Like if Scar Nation doesn't work or if knocking out addiction doesn't work, there's Patrick Lacombs, there's Manny, there like Kalisha, Benjamin Lerner. Like there's so many. I love Ben. He's a great dude. Yeah. There's so many people out there that shows it can be done. And yeah, you might screw up now and then, but that's not the end. And it's not a failure. Not a failure.
And shout out to Manny and Skylar Ray too. Like they're awesome.
Yes. Oh, I love Skylar. Yeah, he's representing Oregon like the best. Like I just love it.
Right.
I've gone up to Salem to see him. Or not Salem, but Portland. So, and then he was just
could you imagine getting all of us in one place?
Yes, I could. And I hope it happens. I hope it happens sometime soon.
Right.
So, yeah, it's gotta happen. One of these days.
Do a workout session.
Oh Lord. Oof. I mean, I can do some walking. Like I'm fit enough. I can walk miles now, but you two are a little bit out of control. Like you are just.
I want to get a little big.
You better start eating your Wheaties, bro.
Dude, that's freaking. I go through like freaking 90-something grams of freaking protein. Like.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be. I need to eat more protein, honestly. But if I could donate what I got left, I totally would. I would overnight express that to you tomorrow.
But, hey, it's like freaking. I'm at like 160 now, finally. Like.
Oh yeah.
Right there. So.
Well, I would send you 20, 30 pounds if I could, and that would help. That would get us both where we want to be.
Heck yeah. To be a big guy, like, Manny, they give me freaking pointers too on like freaking, especially OG. Like, she's great.
Oh, I love them both. I have met some incredible people in the recovery world. I know I'm blessed. And the fact that I made it away from my last battle with addiction with the blues, that's without overdosing. That's how I knew that I had to do something. Like I'm here for a reason, apparently. So
to kick ass.
I will always help if I can help. That's right. That's absolutely right. And I will always help if I can help. And I don't understand how people would want to be any other way, but I will always be grateful for our where it started with Scar Nation, our family, and Scar Nation we're still accepting. Like we will always accept people. Yeah, we have to have you answer some questions to make sure you're not a robot or some shit like that. But
yeah,
we're all past. There's no judgment. None.
We're like a problem.
Absolutely none. So. Yep.
I still need to get
mine. Right there for life.
Still need to get mine.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You should get like a lion with like boxing gloves around its neck or something like that, or with like boxing gloves.
That's cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I've been meaning to I'm supposed to like revamp our merch line and stuff like that. I'm slacking on that, but I've just had so much going on, and then everything happened with my life, man. It gets busy, but it can be absolutely beautiful. And I know I'm blessed to be here.
I got like a stitch of clothes from every recovery group that we got to us. So.
Oh yeah. So.
I got Scholars. I got Moonies on the way. I got a bunch of Scar Nation stuff.
Oh yeah, I had to wear it. And I've got like on the promo pic, we're both wearing some Skylar stuff, and
Yeah.
yep, I will be still collecting merch from everybody. Like I want to support people as much as I possibly can because I've received so much love and support, especially these last few years, and it's just overwhelming to me sometimes. And I don't want to pay it forward. I need to. Like it's an ingrained in my soul need to pay it forward.
Right.
It really is. So
Manny,
with that said,
I forgot which live it was, but like freaking when I first seen Manny, I was like, whoa. And I messaged you.
I know you hit him up, and I guess I hit him up right after that and got him on the Scar Nation podcast. And we've been tight ever since.
In the story, I was like, yeah, we gotta get this guy. Like,
yep. Yeah. That was a great day. Like the first time I talked to him, I ended up talking to him for almost an hour. I'm like, oh yeah, you're stuck with me now. Let's do it.
That's who, like, I was already had my mind made up. I was gonna do this MMA stuff. And Manny, like freaking when I was on his show, I remember this, also always remember this. He said, like he said, you've kicked your own ass in active addiction, like freaking all these years. He said, what more can somebody else do to you? And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to sign up tomorrow.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend earlier, and they were like, well, I don't know why I always do this to myself. I get in my head so bad, and and I was like, bro, it's probably because we all did some dirtbag shit back in the day, and we feel like we deserve to torture ourselves, and we don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
We're human. We can move upward and onwards, and it's okay.
Yep. Like that one saying, without a test, there's no testimony. So, bam.
Oh.
I think we all have to go through shit.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm still going through shit. I'm just doing it differently now.
Oh, yeah.
With an amazing support group, and life is better. You just got to build a life that doesn't make you feel like you have to use.
Yeah.
And where you know that if you do stumble, that's not the end. It's not a failure. You're not falling on your face. You stumbled. You pick yourself up and you keep going.
And even if you do fall on your face, dust yourself off and keep going. Like,
right? Reach for a hand. Someone will, one of us will be around to lift you up for sure.
And if you need a little fire under your ass, we'll give that to you too. Like,
right? And whatever you do, don't cross me, Tyler, and Bo all at the same time, because we'll also hop on a plane.
Oh yeah, like for real.
For sure. So.
Yeah, I think I messaged y'all that one time. Hour. Yeah, it has been an hour. Holy crap! We just been running our mouth.
That tracks.
Oh yeah. But all right, I'm gonna wrap things up. Jump off here and probably find for dinner.
Well, a big thank you to anybody that hopped on and listened to us jabber. There's a good chance it'll happen again.
After we end this, because I still hadn't figured that out yet.
No worries. I love you, bro, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
Anytime.